Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling one of the biggest debates in the entire gun world. It's a question that has been asked around campfires, in gun shops, and all over the internet for decades. On one side, you have the sleek, modern, all-American favorite. On the other, you have the rugged, dependable, and globally recognized workhorse. I'm talking, of course, about the AR-15 versus the AK-47. These two rifles represent more than just metal and mechanics. They stand for different philosophies, different histories, and different approaches to getting the job done. It's a true clash of titans. Imagine a split screen. On the left, you see the AR-15. It's black, modular, and looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It represents precision, customization, and cutting-edge design. On the right, you see the AK-47. It's a classic blend of wood and steel, with a curved magazine that's instantly recognizable. It stands for raw simplicity, unstoppable reliability, and a design that has barely changed in over 70 years. Both of these platforms have earned their legendary status on battlefields and shooting ranges all across the globe. They are, without a doubt, the two most popular rifle platforms on the planet. So, the big question is simple, but the answer is anything but. Which rifle truly wins? Is it the one that can hit a tiny target from hundreds of yards away? Or is it the one that will keep firing after being buried in mud and sand? Is it the one you can build and customize like a set of Legos? Or the one that is so simple you can fix it with a rock and a bit of grit? Today, we are going to put these two icons through their paces. We're going to test them, compare them, and break down every single detail to find out what really makes them tick. This isn't about declaring one rifle universally better than the other, because that's just not how it works. The truth is, the best rifle really depends on what you need it to do. It depends on the situation, the environment, and the person holding it. Our goal here is to give you all the information, straight up and honest, so you can understand the strengths and weaknesses of each. We're going to cover everything from their history and accuracy to their reliability and cost. So grab a seat, because the ultimate showdown is about to begin. Let's get to it. Every legend has an origin story, and these two rifles are no different. They were born from the minds of brilliant designers and forged in the fires of global conflict. Let's start with the American icon, the AR-15. This rifle was designed by a man named Eugene in the late 1950s. Stoner was a genius, a visionary who used new materials like aluminum and plastics to make a rifle that was incredibly lightweight for its time. He wasn't trying to build a weapon for a past war. He was designing a rifle for the future, one that was lighter, more accurate, and easier for a soldier to carry. The AR-15 platform was eventually adopted by the US military as the M16. It saw its first major action in the jungles of Vietnam. Early on, it had some serious problems, mostly due to changes in ammunition and a lack of cleaning kits and training. This gave it a bad reputation for a while, but over the years, those issues were fixed, and the platform evolved. It became the reliable, modular, and incredibly popular rifle we know today. The civilian version, the AR-15, is now known as America's rifle because of its immense popularity for sport shooting, hunting, and self-defense. Now let's look at the other side of the coin, the AK-47. This rifle's story begins in the Soviet Union after World War II. A young tank sergeant named Mikhail Kalashnikov, who had been injured in the war, set out to design a new rifle for the Soviet soldier. He had seen firsthand how German assault rifles were changing the battlefield. He wanted to create something incredibly simple, rugged, and reliable, that could be mass-produced easily and used by soldiers with very little training. He wanted a rifle that would work no matter what, and that's exactly what he did. The Automat Kalashnikov model 1947 or AK-47 was a masterpiece of simplicity. It had loose tolerances, meaning its moving parts had a little extra room to operate. This design choice meant it might not be the most accurate rifle in the world, but it would function in the sand, mud, snow, and dirt without jamming. The AK-47 and its many variants quickly spread across the globe. It became a symbol of revolution and resistance, adopted by countless countries and armed groups. Its simple, tough-as-nails design has made it the most produced rifle in history. Alright, history lesson over, it's time to see how these things actually shoot. A rifle's main job is to put rounds on target, so accuracy is a huge deal. For this test, we set up targets at 50 yards, 100 yards, and 300 yards. We're using a standard, off-the-shelf AR-15 chambered in 5.56 NATO, and a classic AK-47 chambered in 7.62 by 39mm. Both rifles are using iron sights to keep things fair, and will be shooting from a bench rest to take as much human error out of it as possible. The goal is to see which rifle can produce tighter groups. At 50 yards, both rifles performed great. You could easily hit the center of the target with either one. The AR-15 grouped a little bit tighter, maybe the size of a quarter, while the AK-47's group was closer to the size of a golf ball. Both are more than accurate enough for close-range work. The difference really comes down to the sights and the trigger. The AR-15's peep sights are generally easier to use for precision, and its trigger is lighter and crisper. The AK's notch and post sights are very rugged, but a little more crude, making that pinpoint precision a bit tougher to achieve. Now let's move back to 100 yards. This is where the differences start to become much clearer. Shooting the AR-15, we were able to get a nice tight group of about 1.5 to 2 inches. This is fantastic performance for a standard rifle with iron sights. The 5.56 round is flat shooting and fast, which helps a lot. When we switched to the AK-47, the group opened up to about 3 to 4 inches. Again, this is perfectly acceptable, and will absolutely get the job done, but it's just not as precise. The heavier, slower 7.62 by 39mm bullet has more of an arc to its trajectory, which you have to account for. Finally, we pushed out to 300 yards. At this range, the AR-15 is still in its element. Hitting a man-sized target is challenging, but very doable. The bullet drop is predictable, and with a good hold, you can ring steel consistently. The AK-47, on the other hand, really struggles here. The bullet drops significantly more, and those crude iron sights make aiming at a distant target extremely difficult. You can still make hits, but it takes a lot more skill and a bit of luck. The clear winner in the accuracy department, especially at longer ranges, is the AR-15. Its design is just geared more toward precision. Accuracy is one thing, but will your rifle work when you need it most? That's where reliability comes in. The AK-47 has built its entire reputation on being unstoppable, while the AR-15 has had to fight to prove its toughness. So we decided to put them through a little bit of a torture test. We're not going to blow them up just yet, but we are going to get them dirty. First up, the mud test. We submerged each rifle completely in a pit of thick, gritty mud, pulled them out and tried to fire a full magazine. The AK-47 came out of the mud dripping and disgusting. We racked the charging handle, which took a good bit of force to clear out the gunk, and pulled the trigger. Bang, bang, bang. It cycled through the entire magazine without a single hiccup. This is what the AK was born to do. Its loose tolerances and long-stroke gas piston system act like a battering ram, forcing the action to cycle no matter what's in the way. It just doesn't care about dirt. It's a simple, powerful system that proves itself time and time again in harsh conditions. Next up was the AR-15. We gave it the same mud bath. Pulling it out, you could see mud had gotten into every little crevice. The AR's design is much tighter, with closer tolerances to achieve its accuracy. We tried to rack the charging handle, and it was tough. We had to use the forward assist a couple of times to get the bolt fully into battery. The first shot went off, but then, click. A failure to eject. We cleared the jam, and it fired a few more rounds before jamming again. The tight design that makes it so accurate also makes it more vulnerable to getting clogged up by thick debris like mud. Finally, we did a sand and water test, dumping buckets of fine sand over the actions, and then rinsing them with water. The AK-47, once again, barely seemed to notice. A few crunches as we worked the action, but it ran flawlessly. The AR-15 actually did much better here than in the mud. Sand and water can get into the action, but they tend to flush out more easily than thick mud. It still had one or two malfunctions, but it performed much more reliably. The verdict is clear. When it comes to pure brute force reliability in the worst conditions imaginable, the AK-47 is the undisputed king. How a rifle feels in your hands and how easy it is to operate can be just as important as its accuracy or reliability. This is the science of ergonomics, and honestly, it's an area where the two rifles have completely different philosophies. Let's start with the AR-15. It was designed with the user in mind. The safety selector is right above the pistol grip, easily flicked with your thumb without changing your grip. The magazine release button is right where your trigger finger rests. The bolt release is on the side, easy to press after inserting a fresh magazine. Everything is intuitive and fast. The AR-15 also has very light recoil. The 5.56 cartridge is small and fast, and the rifle's direct impingement gas system and buffer tube assembly do an amazing job of soaking up the kick. This makes it very easy to control, even for new or smaller framed shooters. You can fire shots quickly and stay on target. Plus, the AR-15 is the king of customization. You can change the stock, the grip, the handguard, the sights, the trigger, everything. You can build an AR-15 to fit your body and your needs perfectly, which is a huge advantage for many shooters. Now let's handle the AK-47. Ergonomically, it's a product of its time. The safety selector is a large, stamped metal lever on the side of the receiver. It's famously stiff and requires you to break your grip completely to operate it. It's very safe and very positive, but it is not fast. The magazine release is a paddle in front of the trigger guard, which works well, but requires a different manual of arms. To reload, you have to rock the magazine in, which can be slower than the AR's straight insertion method until you get the hang of it. The AK-47 also has a bit more kick. The 7.62 by 39mm is a more powerful cartridge, and the rifle's long-stroke piston system gives it a distinct thump of recoil. It's not punishing by any means, but it is noticeably more than the AR-15, making rapid follow-up shots a little more challenging. As for customization, the classic AK is much more limited. While the market has grown, it's still nowhere near the level of the AR-15. In the battle of pure ergonomics and user-friendliness, the modern design of the AR-15 takes the win. It's simply a faster and more intuitive rifle to run. For most people, the decision between two rifles often comes down to one simple thing: money. So, let's break down the real cost of owning an AR-15 versus an AK-47. We're not just talking about the price tag on the rifle itself, but the total cost of ownership, including ammo, magazines, and potential upgrades. Let's start with buying the rifle. In today's market, you can find entry-level AR-15s and entry-level AK-47s for very similar prices. A few years ago, AKs were generally cheaper, but that gap has closed significantly. The real difference starts to show up when you look at ammunition. Traditionally, the 7.62x 39mm ammunition for the AK-47, often imported as steel case surplus, has been significantly cheaper than the 5.56 or .223 ammunition for the AR-15. For people who shoot a lot, this can add up to huge savings over time. 1,000 rounds of steel-cased AK ammo might cost you $100 less than 1,000 rounds of brass-cased AR ammo. However, prices fluctuate a lot based on global politics and supply, so this isn't always a guarantee. Next, let's talk about magazines and parts. Standard capacity AR-15 magazines are everywhere. They are lightweight, reliable, and generally inexpensive. You can buy them from dozens of different manufacturers. AK-47 magazines, especially good quality steel or polymer ones, can sometimes be a little more expensive and harder to find, depending on the current import market. When it comes to parts and repairs, the AR-15 has a massive advantage. Because it's a standardized platform, parts are interchangeable and widely available from countless companies. You can build an entire AR-15 from parts ordered online. The AK-47 platform is less standardized. A part from a Romanian AK might not fit a Serbian AK without some hand-fitting by a gunsmith. This makes home repairs and builds much more difficult. So, while the AK might have cheaper ammo, the AR-15 wins on the cost and availability of magazines, parts, and upgrades. Your total cost of ownership will really depend on how much you shoot versus how much you plan to tinker and upgrade. If you just want to stack ammo deep and cheap, the AK often has the edge. If you want to customize and build, the AR is the more affordable path. These rifles aren't just tools, they are cultural symbols. thanks in large part to their portrayal in movies, video games, and the news. Their on-screen personas have shaped public perception for decades. The AR-15, and its military M16 or M4 cousins, is almost always the hero's gun. It's the rifle carried by US soldiers in films like Black Hawk Down and American Sniper. It's the weapon of choice for SWAT teams and police officers in countless action movies. It's portrayed as a high-tech, precise, and sophisticated weapon used by the good guys to save the day. This heroic image is reinforced in video games like the Call of Duty series, where the M4 or a similar AR-15 variant is often the default well-rounded weapon that players start with. It represents precision, control, and tactical superiority. On the news, the AR-15 has a much more controversial image, often being the focus of debates on gun control. This has created a complex and often polarizing public identity for the rifle. It is simultaneously seen as a symbol of American freedom and sport, a tool for law enforcement, and a weapon at the center of political debate. The AK-47, on the other hand, has been typecast as the villain's gun. From the very first James Bond movies to action blockbusters of the 80s and 90s like Die Hard, if there's a bad guy, there's a good chance he's carrying an AK-47. It has become cinematic shorthand for the enemy. It's the rifle of terrorists, third-world dictators, drug cartels, and revolutionaries. This image comes from its real-world proliferation among Soviet bloc nations and insurgent groups during the Cold War. It's simple, it's everywhere, and it became an easy visual cue for Hollywood. In video games, the AK-47 is often the weapon you pick up off of fallen enemies. It's usually portrayed as being more powerful, but less accurate than its Western counterparts, a reputation that is largely based in reality. It's the underdog's weapon, the gun of the gritty survivor, or the rebel fighter. While its on-screen reputation is often negative, it has also earned a certain cool factor. It's seen as a rugged, no-nonsense tool that gets the job done. For better or for worse, pop culture has cemented these two rifles in our minds as polar opposites. The precise hero versus the rugged outlaw. So after all the tests, the history, and the analysis, which rifle comes out on top? The honest answer is, it depends entirely on what you value. There is no single winner here because these two rifles were designed with different goals in mind, and they excel in different areas. They are two different tools for two different jobs. Trying to declare one universally superior to the other is like arguing whether a hammer is better than a screwdriver. The AR-15 and the AK-47 are both kings, but they rule over different kingdoms. The AR-15 is the king of precision and modularity. If you want a rifle that can consistently hit small targets at a distance, the AR-15 is the clear choice. Its ergonomic design makes it faster and more intuitive to operate. Its recoil is softer, allowing for quicker follow-up shots. And its incredible modularity means you can adapt it, customize it, and build it to be exactly what you want it to be. It's a modern, sophisticated rifle that rewards a shooter who values accuracy, speed, and the ability to tailor their equipment perfectly to their needs. It is a thoroughbred racehorse. The AK-47 is the king of reliability and simplicity. If you need a rifle that you can bet your life on to work no matter what, after being dropped in mud, sand, or water, the AK-47 is your answer. Its design is the very definition of ruggedness. It was built to be dragged through the worst conditions on Earth and still go bang every single time you pull the trigger. It fires a harder hitting round and is built with a simplicity that makes it incredibly durable. It is a sledgehammer, a tool of brute force that will not let you down when things get tough. Ultimately, both rifles are legendary for a reason. They have both proven themselves over decades of service around the world. The AR-15 is a finely tuned machine, a scalpel that excels at surgical precision. The AK-47 is an unstoppable workhorse, a hammer that can smash through any obstacle. Choosing between them isn't about picking the best rifle, it's about picking the right philosophy. Do you prefer modern ergonomics and tack-driving accuracy, or do you prefer bomb-proof reliability and raw simplicity? Both are excellent choices, and both have earned their place in history. We've laid it all out on the table. We've looked at their history, shot them for accuracy, and dragged them through the mud. We've broken down how they feel in your hands and how much they'll cost you in the long run. We've even looked at how they've been portrayed in the movies we watch and the games we play. We've seen the AR-15 shine as a precise, ergonomic, and endlessly customizable platform. It's a rifle that feels like it was designed in the 21st century, offering speed and a level of personalization that is unmatched in the firearms world. On the other side, we have the AK-47. It's a testament to the genius of simplicity. It may not be as accurate or as ergonomic, but its legendary reliability is not a myth. It's a rifle that was designed to arm a massive army of conscripts and function in the most unforgiving environments on the planet, and it does that job better than almost anything else ever made. It's a piece of history that still works as well today as it did over 70 years ago. It represents a different kind of strength. The strength of being fundamentally unbreakable and dependable. Think about what matters most to you. Are you a competitive shooter or a hunter who needs to make a precise shot at 200 yards? Do you enjoy tinkering, upgrading, and building a rifle that is uniquely yours, piece by piece? If so, the AR-15 platform is probably calling your name. Its ecosystem of parts and accessories is a playground for anyone who likes to customize their gear. It's a system that grows and adapts with you, allowing you to fine-tune its performance for any task you can imagine. Or are you someone who values simplicity and absolute dependability above all else? Do you want a rifle that you can toss in the back of a truck, neglect for a while, and know with total confidence that it will fire when you need it to? Do you appreciate the history and the raw mechanical nature of a tool built for pure function? If that's you, then the AK-47 might be the rifle that speaks your language. It's a workhorse that doesn't ask for much but always gives its all. So, now the decision is yours. After seeing them go head to head, which one would you choose?